Hi there, I'm Iliza. Nothing out of the ordinary here. I do this all day. Just sign these books. Where do I sign it? Here? Right here is okay? It's a book signing event, you guys, and I will be taking your questions. I will be signing books that you're going to get. I've got Blanche here, and that's so shitty that I introduced her before the human next to me. This is my good friend, Kate Hendricks, affectionately known and professionally known as Kate the Wasp.
Hi.
You can check her out on Instagram. Her Insta snaps are very funny. She just came back from her honeymoon. And she's here to moderate. She's here to handle you guys. She's here to make it fun. She's here to make it classy. She's here to keep it private school.
If I can get a word in. Congratulations.
Probably not. Thank you.
Congratulations, you author.
Look at that. That's the first one. This is the first
one.
This is the first live signed book because my book, it's not born tomorrow, but it goes out into the world tomorrow.
It started long ago. When did you sell this book?
Oh my God. We pitched this book. Georgina, when did we pitch this book?
Over a year ago.
Over a year ago. And it went through a couple different iterations. I fired an agent before I even pitched this book to what was He Who Shall Not Be Named. We won't speak ill of the dead. Now it says it right there. Isn't that weird? You know what this is a little bit like? Because it says Weinstein here because the book was printed before that whole thing happened. It's a little bit like when one of your grandparents has a piece of like Nazi paraphernalia left over, like a plate with a swastika on it. You're like, we keep it because it's like, where do you get that? So the next print, and there will be a second print, will say Hachette.
Here's hoping. Not with all that Nazi talk.
Not with all that Nazi. That's fair. Sorry.
I'm supposed to moderate, so I just want to make sure
Just to clarify, Nazis are bad.
PC. All right, good. The boss is laughing, so we're fine.
Yeah.
All right? We'll
sure.
be invited back to do another live signing. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going. This is huge for you.
That's
This
it.
is so
So,
exciting. This is so exciting.
Kate's going to read off the questions you guys have. At some point, we're going to take a pre-screened caller. Don't want to hear anything weird about your wieners. Nothing like that. But the book we pitched about a year ago, and it's a slow and painstaking process. But I really took a lot of care to make sure that I didn't rush this and that I was as authentic as possible. And this is merely my offering of my perspective and my existence and my experience. If you don't find yourself in the pages of this book, I hope you already bought it. So it doesn't matter.
Don't say merely. This book is fabulous. I read it yesterday.
She read it.
It was a late gift to me. It was my wedding gift. Free. Okay. We're super close. No, the book is wonderful. Even they're laughing. Okay. We got all the room here. The book is wonderful, and I don't think it is merely. I think you cover so much of your career, yourself, your personal history, your driving forces. And so obviously everyone needs to go to girllogicbook.com in order to ask one of these questions that we're going to read out here shortly and have Iliza sign for you. But we're just going to talk kind of generally about her experience and her process and maybe some of the fun stories in the book.
Yeah.
I think this is a good question if we could.
It's weird. It's real casual, even though neither of us are dressed to suggest so.
Even though I'm like sweating and insist that we stay to the agenda that I asked you and I texted you about, and you're so fun and casual, and I'm like, no, this is very important.
You took this so seriously.
I take it really seriously.
It's a cable knit sweater. It's a serious time, folks.
I'm sweating through it.
No, it's great.
Oh my
Someone
gosh.
has to take it seriously.
I know. That's the thing. Please buy the book.
Do I just-
girllogicbook.com.
Do I just throw these on the floor? Okay. Your book stays on the table.
It's
Okay.
thrilling. Okay, here's a question for you.
I'm ready.
From me. Do you find that I'm doing a good job? No.
Of all the book moderators I've had today, you're one of them.
I'm sorry, this is not about me. Do you find that some people are intimidated by you because you are intelligent and well-spoken?
Some. Look at this room. All these dudes are like, so hot, what am I going to do? No. Yeah, but I think
Modesty.
It's not so much about, like, I'm definitely not like breaking boners left and right. I think it's about people get intimidated when they don't expect something from someone. And I think a lot of times men and other women get intimidated when they perceive a woman as a threat. So I talk in the book a lot about if you really have confidence in yourself, whatever it is, you might be beautiful, you might be really smart, super athletic, you might just have your one thing. When you know that nobody can take that one thing away from you, then you don't feel like you have something to lose. I think a big reason women are mean to other women is because we feel threatened, like there's not enough to go around. And in some cases, there isn't. Like, don't listen to that bullshit. Like, there's plenty for everyone. Like, said by someone who's never had a job. So, but I think kindness goes a long way. But yeah, it is not fun when people... And also, by the way, if you're the kind of girl where a guy is, like, intimidated by you, like, that's not the guy for you. Like, I get it. He was hot. Like, you made out once. But, like, it's not happening. He's marrying a girl that's, like, really into yoga and, like, whispers. So, move on. Go fill out your bracket and move on.
Do you feel like your fiance is intimidated by you?
No.
Obviously not.
My
It was a
fiance-
layup.
Sometimes I try to like bully him into stuff, but he's just so like steady, and he's never threatened. Yours is like that. Or your husband now.
I know, he's my husband.
We both are with just tall, just sort of pillars of just
steadfast,
silence.
Middle
just
of the
there.
road, calm.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Sometimes I wish he would be jealous. Like sometimes I'll be like, I was talking to super hot dudes. What do you think about that? He's like, great. That's what you want over me. I'm like, okay, it's not what I wanted. I wanted a fight, and apparently you weren't up for a fight. So, screw you. Where's this one that didn't have a flap?
Well, so here's a question. What is the most humbling experience you've ever had?
Okay.
Besides not being able to rile your fiance into fisticuffs.
Into fisticuffs? The most humbling experience. So humbling suggests that I went into it cocky and came out deflated.
Good distinction.
Right, versus, like, I saw a beautiful mountain, and I was like, oh my god, nature's so big. Humbling. You know what? I have to be honest. It's not so much one experience as it is the growth of a career. I think we all come out like, I'm going to conquer the world. And the nature of Hollywood is so demanding and exhausting. And it's consistently humbling. Just you think you're going to get it. I read for that part. I wrote this bit. I did this. This is the greatest thing ever. And people are like, okay, don't call us. We'll call you. So you're constantly being reminded that you have to always bring your A game. And that's where a true sense of self comes in, because you have to, at the end of the day, be like, no, I'm the best. I deserve to be here. My voice is worth it. Because everybody would like you to quit, except for the people that you pay. They would like you to keep going. 10%. So I think it's a nagging pain, but the pain lets you know you're still alive. I know, you're a comic.
Well, you have a beautiful piece in the book towards the end where you refer to what we would call a humbling. You call it a dressing down.
Was it when I went on The View and they wouldn't look at me? A different one?
2 dressings down.
Okay. They were so mean.
Now, I really enjoyed The View as a person, like my one TV appearance. Okay. When you pitched a show, how's my hair?
Good. I was just making love to you.
Thank you. I love you. You pitched a show, and you said that later on, let me tell you about your book. It's really, you pitched a show.
Yeah.
You pitched many shows, but you talk about how...
Oh, with the writers?
No, how they sort of, you got some feedback and you felt strongly a certain way, and...
Oh, it was the PR for a show.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Oh.
I don't want to give it away because people need to go to girllogicbook.com, ask a question, buy the book.
Hold up the book.
Okay.
Buy the
and
book.
Learn about this yourself. And you have to get to the end. You have to muscle through the beginning, which is really fun.
The beginning might prattle on a little bit, but...
If you're 25 and below, or read at that level...
Or look like it.
No,
read at that
great.
level.
The whole thing is great. The whole thing, it's really... I love it. I love you. It's wonderful. But you do... I feel like you go into some meatier times.
It gets more dense. It gets
It
more
does.
serious. It gets more personal. I feel like we're on QVC. I'm like, you get 3 inches. Look at that value. Calling out because we only have 2,000 of these left for me to sign. I do think the book matures.
It does.
And that speaks to how I was writing it, you know. Mm-hmm. It took months of going back and being like, do I mean this? Some parts of it I wrote when I was single, some when I was engaged. Going back and making sure that these words that are going to live forever on this page ring true. And you know what? In 10 years, I might change my mind. But I think this is a good representation, sort of including everyone. Yeah. The show thing, if this is the thing I'm thinking of, this was just a very Hollywood, very show business experience. I was hosting a show. It wasn't a show that I wanted to, it wasn't my show. It was just something that they had asked me to do. So I said yes, because it's a paycheck. I get to be on TV. I get to keep the clothes. And in the marketing of the show, we love to, in our society, paint women with these very broad brushstrokes. Every girl is like, it's wine o'clock. That's not about you. It's wine o'clock. Rosé all day. I'm eating pizza. I'm such a mess. I can't adult today. And single women are always painted as messes, right? Like, I woke up in a frat house. What happened? I'm like, that sounds like rape, and it's not funny. And in the pitching of the show, which was not about dating at all, like there were couples, best friends coming on, they kind of pitched me as like, they're like, okay, so you'll do tweets like, I don't remember my Saturday night, but I love to watch this show. And they were trying to paint me like this like booze hound, can't get it together sort of tornado of a mess. And I simply say, you know, that's not really my brand. I'm a little bit stronger than that, and that's not who I am. I don't get drunk in the middle of the day. I show up. And I just kind of voiced that. And after the show got canceled, it came down the pipeline that the president of the network hated me. And it was merely, and I'd met him once. And it was because of that phone call 6 months before. Because I deigned to say that I didn't want to be painted like a shitty prostitute who was like waking up in laundry.
Well, you used interesting language. I'm just going to read aloud from the book. That way no one has to fight.
Okay, so not like, shitty prostitute.
No, but you talk about how sometimes even if you're strong, you need to acknowledge that there's someone who's weaker, but in a position of power over you.
Yeah, I think.
And I thought that was really beautifully put. Yeah, no, it was great. It was great because you don't want to say someone's weak, but they're in that position, they're suggesting something of you that it's weak to call you.
And it's easy.
Exactly. To diminish you down to just, a mess or whatever it is. And you talk about that in the book about how much and the book is wonderful. I mean, really it is. I've had at least a bottle of wine, but honestly, the book is wonderful. I feel like you do a great job of being vulnerable, which I think for people who don't know you well, they don't see you.
You think I'm so tough.
They
All
think
black.
you're super, super tough, and
you're
not.
And I think
you are tough, but you're not
for sure
aggressive like you, I think.
I'm aggressive, but I'm not like an angry, I'm not mean. Like I would never throw the first punch, but like if you want to start a fight, I'll finish it.
She'll be there till the end.
But I do think in comedy, and you know this because you're a stand-up, because like your act is personal. You talk about your family, you talk about what society thinks of you. I think comedy gods reward vulnerability. When you go out there, so whether you're writing or you're speaking, the more you give of yourself and the more authentic it is, not like my parents are from the South and I'm dating is hard. You can start there, but the more you dig deep and you're like, this is my truth, this is my experience, this is how raw it is, the more the comedy gods reward you because people love for you to bare your soul. It's up to you how much you want to bear. And when I wrote this book, I was thinking about this the other day. My manager was like, happy book week, it's coming out. And I was like, did I just share a lot of information that people aren't necessarily entitled to? And then I was like, I'm an artist and then I have nothing to hide. So I had an abortion, big deal. It's in the book.
I didn't think you overshare. I don't think she doesn't overshare. If someone knows you, or not even knows you, I feel like by watching you, you know you, in a sense.
Yeah.
If you have a little bit of intuition about a human, people could probably intuit that you're not always super tough, because no person is. That doesn't make sense.
I cried on Facebook Live 2 days ago because my diet's really hard. And I emotionally just lost it.
And also starving children. But because my diet's really hard.
It was, that sounds so bad. And people were like, you're just crying over your diet. And I'm like, you have no idea what I'm actually crying about. But we'll say it's the diet. But the point is I was vulnerable on Facebook Live.
I think you've done a great job of just showing a different side of yourself. So a lot of your fans are probably watching. If I've kind of opened for you so many times, there are people, what is her name, Amy, who always comes to see you.
Amy Brenner.
Now everyone's going to find her on Facebook, and she's going to get
famous.
She's
a super fan. Chantel is a super fan.
But there are people who really, obviously a lot of people really connect with you, and this is going to give them a new dynamic. And people who don't know you, I think this is going to give them a great first foray. So do me a favor, guys, if you're watching, if you're reading along, if you're enjoying, tell a friend to go to girllogicbook.com to buy the book and to ask us a question, at which point we are now going to turn to a quick question.
I have one more fan. Libra like Lizzie. Sorry, that's another one. It's her handle. I just would feel bad. Those are the three main women that show up in my shows.
Amazing.
A lot of East Coast shows, yeah. Really nice.
It's so nice.
They make a lot of fan gifts.
How did Smokey Husky get his name?
Smokey Husky, for those of you that are just joining us, is my fiance, and if anyone has ever seen a picture of him, you know that he has really beautiful blue eyes. Not blue eyes like quasi-photoshopped, these kind of blue eyes, but like clear pools, and he looks like an Alaskan Malamute, if you ever look at like those wolf dogs. So when I met him, I was like, ooh, I don't trust you one bit. Those are vampirian in nature. And he's Smokey Husky because he's a chef, and he's around like pit smoke from like smoking meat. So he'd always come home and he smelled like smoke. Not like cigarette smoke, but like meat smoke. So he's a Smokey Husky. His hair's a little gray, but he's a Smokey Husky.
His hair is not gray.
On the sides. But it's distinguished. But also, I didn't want to use his name because I do believe in a career that demands you give so much of yourself and dig so deep and make it personal. Some people can figure out who he is. He's not a celebrity or anything. Some things you kind of want to keep to yourself. And it's like, I don't need a bunch of dudes telling me like how lame my fiance is just because like you're insecure or girls commenting. So if you figure it out, great. More power to you. But that's for me.
That's
Smokey Husky.
Okay, another question. How about this? What's the worst advice you've ever received?
The worst advice? Eat the whole thing.
Oh my god. Well done.
I don't know. Do you have the worst? What's the
worst?
Why would you
worst
remember
advice
it?
I've ever received?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What?
When I started doing stand up, people were like, "You really need to sex it up a little," and I was like,
Oh.
"I don't go any like a V-neck cable knit. I'm gonna sweat
I wore
through the
so
top."
many V-necks.
Do you remember I came to open for you in a dress?
She came to open for me one time in a backless
Dress.
dress, like full, like just.
It wasn't even
landscape.
sexy. It was just like
Just open, like just wide open backless, and I was like, "This is the
wasn't-
woman you are."
it wasn't like low back. It was like shoulder blades. Like I was like took the performance seriously and had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, okay, this is serious. I'm in front of people. I need to have on attire that is befitting of that.
The only thing I thought when I saw it, to quote Casino, "What a move."
But you said
I was
to me,
like, "What
she
a
goes,
pro move."
you go, I wouldn't really like this, but I think it's who you are. And I was like, do you remember saying that? And I was like, thank you, it is who I am. And I was like, oh, I don't know who I am. Like ran off.
But it was and like, look, I've definitely worn white ripped jeans on stage.
This would really annoy me, but I think it's who you are.
I feel like
it
it
was
works for you.
It was so awesome.
I don't know about bad advice.
You were wonderful. I mean,
Who asked that question? What's
I
the
don't
worst
know.
advice you ever got? You know what? I don't know. I feel like male comics give like bad advice. I've got one friend who's always like, "Why don't you look sexier on stage?" And I'm like, "Why don't you write better jokes?" Like, what are you asking me? Because I don't want to. I don't walk around dressed sexy all the time. So why would I pretend to be that on stage? Also, you can't move. I can't do my lunges. I can't kick.
my lunges.
Gotta get those lunges in. I don't know, because it's my art, hands off.
All right, we got to talk about this question from Emma in San Diego, California. What in your life are you most grateful for? Thank you,
Hey,
Emma.
Emma.
Great question.
Okay, so I think the fact that my parents are healthy and alive, I think about that a lot because I'm 34, so you're kind of getting older, your parents are getting older. It'd be weird if I was getting older and they weren't. I don't take that for granted. My own health, which I'm challenging with this weird diet. And I know that this sounds like spoiled, but like I look at Blanche, no matter what is going wrong in the world, and I look at her and I'm just like, I'm so grateful to have a dog this gorgeous, who's this well behaved and this sweet and this much my best friend, and always lets me do weird shit to her. Like, this is the best. Like, this is Christmas morning every time I look at her, and that's a lot because I'm Jewish and I don't get a Christmas morning. I'm grateful for Christmas.
It's so sweet. All right, while we're doing this, while you're holding her so beautifully,
Okay.
can we caller number or book
What should we say?
book purchase?
Book buyer number 5.
I don't know your name.
Book. This is
Dwayne?
Dwayne. Dwayne owns the company. Everyone.
Did you see how he
message
whispered it to
Dwayne.
me? He showed me that he had a Bentley before. What was that about, Dwayne?
All right, thanks. We're falling off track. I'm not moderating well.
Sorry. Okay. Caller number 500.
You want to do 500? You want to do like a full
Purchaser number 5.
purchaser number 500?
And where are we right now? We're at 7. Okay, great. We're on the road.
Purchaser number 500 is going to have this book right here, signed by Blanche. Oh, honey, this is so cute. Great job.
Just so you know, it's child-proof. It's ink for children, so it's non-comedogenic. It's non-toxic.
Wonderful.
Here we go. Don't be scared. I'm right here for you.
Okay, you got it. Put it right over the wine.
Put it over the Weinstein, yeah.
She's so excited.
Press
Oh,
it down.
very cute. Check
Press it
this
down
out.
like we practiced.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
bad.
Caller 500.
But you saw
Purchaser
it first.
500. This Picasso.
Why is that so bad? Why did it?
This abstract piece
What did you do? You
is
ruined it.
yours. All right, sign it from Blanche and let's move along here.
I like to kiss her right here and get lipstick on her mouth. Okay. So I'll sign. What? Oh, yeah. We have to wipe it off. We should try it again.
All right, we'll try one more time. So this is for purchaser number 600. If we
Yeah.
can keep up with you guys.
They always make it like paws or like, oh, it's a paw print. But really, it's a complex network
Here we go.
of leather padding and fur. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, my angel. Please
All right.
don't call PETA. She's fine. Oh.
Here's a good question. How do you get anything done with Blanche around? I wouldn't be able to focus on anything but that baby lamb. Good question, Lisa from Oswego, Illinois.
We take breaks. I actually addressed that concept. I got you. Just one more time. I squeeze you. I love you. That's better.
That's better. We're getting somewhere. Caller 600.
Can I have some of that
Wait,
water?
did you say
Will
not
give me that?
much? Tough
It's not-
crowd.
yeah.
The CEO's like, not great, guys.
Great.
Why don't you try a little harder?
I love it.
I'm sweating
Like, we
even
got
more now.
Dead air, people.
Corporate's here. Corporate is here. Are we okay? All right.
It's hard to get stuff done. I address this. You know what? You can take a walk and just wipe off your paws on the carpet. I address this in the book, just how you have to kind of get your squeezes in, and it ties into a whole other bit. But it is hard because everywhere you look, she's always right there. I'll be like, Blanche, and she's just like, yes. And she's never far. It's hard. I'll write for a little bit, and I turn around, and she's just there, and she's sleeping, and I'm like, I have to disrupt you. So I guess knowing that she'll always be there, or, for now, makes it better. But I don't get a lot done because I have to wrap my mouth around her mouth and go, squeeze you. I have to do it. And I have to like, for your teeth.
I do that. I mean, obviously, yeah.
So tiny.
Yeah, it's there's something about like not squeezing something, but like I do it to my husband. I'm like, squeeze.
Yeah, something so cute. I do it to Smokey Husky when she's not around, or when she's sleeping. Blanche suffers from this disease called small mouth syndrome. She has a very small mouth, and it needs kisses. Otherwise, it won't survive.
Okay.
I'm engaged to a human. Okay.
Next question from Jesse in Sharpsville, Pennsylvania. How do you mend a broken heart?
Jesse, what happened?
Eliza, I've been in love with you since... No, I'm just kidding.
Is Jesse a boy or a girl? Is it
unclear? Jesse...
It's a boy.
Please comment if
it's an E, it's a boy. If it's an IE, tis a female. How do you mend a broken heart? With time, my child? Because there's broken hearts and there's broken hearts, right? There's like, he left me at the altar, and then there's, it turns out the guy I thought was cute that I never talked to has a girlfriend. So, I don't know, by filling that slot.
But wouldn't you say, okay, so fine, so that's kind of girl logic, though. Being like...
Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to talk about that.
Being like...
Thank you.
That's okay. Sandwich it in. Shoehorn it in.
Shoehorn it in.
How would you describe... So girl logic probably makes you think you're in love with someone who just, like, looked at you twice. Or is that me?
I think that's every girl. You're great at this. I think that's every girl. I think every woman, and I'm sure guys do this. Men have to do this where, like, you see someone from across the room and it reminds you of, like, a movie, and, like, they turn around for a second, you're like, oh my god, like, she's carrying the poetry book that I want. Oh my god, she's got an iced coffee just like me, and she turns around and she's like, ha! And you're like, fuck. I think we all, even when you're not single, like, you see people and you imagine a world of possibilities with that person. And then you kind of just, like, slide by them, right? So you see, like, in an instant, you see, like, some preppy guy, some banker walking out of Wall Street. And you're like, oh, my God, I could be that wife on the Upper West Side. I could look like that, and we'll have beautiful Aryan children. And that same moment, you're like, that dude's got a neck tattoo. You want to fuck? Like, it's just... And it's endless because, especially as a woman, you're always being fed these fantasies of what your life could look like from movies and advertising, and it seeps into us. And we try to be every woman. But at the end of the day... You can only do what makes you happy. I had my own reservations about being engaged. I was like, does that make me not a road comic? Like, what about all the other life experiences? Am I missing out on that? Am I not as cool now? And it's like, I'm not a gypsy. I'm going to get married.
Do you feel like society has been the most excited, this is a leading question, for you to be engaged?
I think my fans have been so supportive.
Sure,
and it's been so touching because, especially... the age I am, you grow up kind of thinking, like, women don't like each other. And I don't feel that way, and I think smart women don't feel that way. But I've had fans bring engagement gifts. I've had them make stuff for Smokey Husky. It's just, it's such an outpouring of love in an avenue that I never really thought about. I never thought about getting married. And the fact that, like, they're embracing me, my choices, and the person, it's just so sweet, like, that they go out of their way for that. So, yeah. It's cool. And, if you're not married and you want to be girls, look, this is a joke of mine, but I'm going to be 35 when I get married. So there's no secret. Like, you just find someone when you're the right person. And to be quite honest, I don't know if I'm the right person right now, but I'm a better person than I was before. And it's not because of a man. It's because I'm in a higher tax bracket.
Trump, 2020. Sorry, are we okay?
Make America great again, folks.
Oh my gosh, I think that's a good point about, like, because I felt like when I got engaged, like, it's because I'm the best version I've ever been, and it's like, no, you're gonna get knocked down a few more times. You're gonna learn how to be an engaged person, be an engaged person. Yeah, be part of a couple.
Like, ever evolving, this bullshit rhetoric of, like, because we always want men to save us, right? And for men that think, I just need a girl, I need a project, the idea is that you are a fully realized person and somebody complements that lifestyle. That's why men don't like needy women. Because if you need someone, then it's suffocating. I always joke that men don't like strong women, but men are very attracted to a woman that's like, I've got my own thing going on. You know, maybe he'll ask you to change that thing later, but somebody who isn't needy, because you want two people to come together fully formed, and then the idea is that you grow together. Or you just squeeze them in their sleep because Blanche is in the other room and you need a squeeze bag. So, I don't know, but I think so many girls get so down on themselves because they're not in a relationship, and I get it. I remember hating being single at times, but I also remember loving it. And I feel like such an idiot being like, you have to enjoy the ride, but like, you never know. You just never know. So, enjoy your fantasies, have fun going out, have fun staying at home. Like, you're gonna be fine. And for those of you that are over 30, you're fine. No one, like, turns 30 and, like, shits the bed. Like, you're fine. No one goes to bed 29 and wakes up at 30. They're like, where did that wart come from?
You did a great job in the book. Because this actually gave me a lot of solace. You said that your 20s are like an experiment. Yeah, you're hot. I'm in this,
so
like,
hot.
I'd look like a...
You look fine.
The dream. A stay-at-home mom. Like, who's, like, out for the night.
What if that whole book was about that? Like, how you achieve that?
You talk about how your 20s are an experiment, and then your 30s, it kind of crystallizes. And
Yeah.
I really appreciated that, because I'm 33, and it just felt good to be like, okay, the 20s were a bit of a wild, like, not wild, because I don't really know wild, but just like a little experimental in...
Your 20s, you're going to
not
take...
even men, but just experience.
Everything.
Yeah.
Your look, what you want out of a career, you know, and then these things start to crystallize, and I'm not saged and wizened just because I'm 34, and this is why the book has nothing to do about being 40, you know, I can only speak from my perspective. I look at younger women with such fondness. I think women like to look at other women like competition. Because I remember being that age and how fun it is and how exciting it is and the choices you're making and some of the choices you're limited to maybe financially or just opportunity-wise. And it's such a fun time because unless you really fuck up, like, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to show up to work hungover. You probably won't do it again. To cheat on a boyfriend when you're like 22, you know, like, oops, I kissed your friend, something like that. Like, these things don't have these huge ramifications. I mean, some of them do, but society kind of allows you to make those mistakes. Maybe you date a married man. Maybe you date an older man. Maybe you switch careers. Maybe you go back to school. Maybe you cut off all your hair. Maybe you dye it red. A lot of girls dye their hair red when they like want a fun change, and seldom does it look as good as the other color. Maybe you get bangs. Don't cut your own bangs. And it's okay. And then we kind of, the switch almost is flipped the other way as you get into your 30s because we're kind of like, how come you haven't figured it out yet? And people are very mean to women because of that. It's your journey. Whatever you do is fine. It's your life, ultimately. And I think the key is to surround yourself with people who are supportive. Not enablers, but supportive. I mean, we're stand-up comics. You have to be surrounded by people that are, like, down with that.
I think when you say, you know, I think women are very mean to women.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, well, what are you doing now? What is she? Because you're ultimately trying to justify your own
existence.
Path, right. And no one can do that for you. And you did talk about that a good bit about, like, you have to...
Yeah.
You knew what works for you. And
right.
There's a lot of... I don't know, that if you all haven't yet, if you're finding us through Facebook or YouTube, you need to go to girllogicbook.com, buy the book, ask a question.
Well, you put it on your, I think, Instagram or something. It was about... Or no, I think it was the PR team for this. Every woman's vision of happiness is different. And I think where we're kind of missing in feminism is honoring and allowing other women to have that vision. Oh, it's not children for you. It's being a workaholic. That's okay. We are constantly commenting. And by the way, I love talking shit, but we're constantly, she parents wrong. She dresses wrong. She's doing the wrong thing. She's not married yet. And we just give her a fucking break. Like, what if we just let women be and trusted that they were adult enough to make their own choices? And in that... What?
I know.
I feel like I'm giving a church sermon.
I know it is.
And he came down from the mountain.
Okay, we're going to take a call from Kevin in Richmond, Virginia. Are you ready?
Take a quick break. Okay.
Kevin? Kevin, are you...
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Kevin. It's Kate. You're here with Eliza.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Hey, doing all right. Hey, my question for you was, do you have any recurring dreams or nightmares?
Yes, I do. Who screened this guy? I do. I have a constant reoccurring nightmare that I'm late to class. I went to school on a big campus, and our schedule rotated every day. So your classes were at a different time every day. So I have a constant fear that I can't remember what time each class was, and I'm just trying to figure out my schedule, and I can't get my schedule, and my legs are heavy, so I can't. Sometimes, you know, when you sleep a very long time and you have a very long dream, like, the dream stops being weird and it's just you eating soup, and you're like, when is this gonna end? I have it, like, I cannot get across campus, and I'm just dragging my legs.
Oh, that is such a bad feeling.
That's a reoccurring one. I had eye surgery recently, so my eyes often hurt in my dreams. Turns out they hurt in real life, and it's just permeating my dream bubble. I think that's the big one, the school one. Mm-hmm. What about you, Kevin?
Yeah, I've got a school one where it's the last week of senior year of college, and I find out there's a class that I need to graduate.
Yes!
And I'm signed up for it.
Yes!
I've never gone to it.
Oh my God! Yes! I've had that exact dream. It's, for those of you that can't hear, it's the class that it's the end of school, and you realize you haven't gone to the class all year, and you're like, how am I going to graduate? I didn't know I had to go to, like, arts and humanities. Like, what is that? That should be a gen ed I could take at a community college over the summer. That's crazy. I also have, I think everybody has this one where you're driving and, like, down, like, a highway, and you just kind of let the car go and you go flying off the highway, but in that flying, you realize that you're in a dream. You're like, this is fine. And I've also have the one where I forget my lines, whether in a play or stand-up, and my heart skips a beat, and then I quickly realize this doesn't matter, it's a dream. When it happens in real life, though, terrifying. You're like, 1,500 people paid to hear me talk. I better come up with something.
Kevin, did you graduate from college? After
Yes, I
all
did.
that? Okay.
It's like, still can't find that class.
Still can't.
That's why I called.
Yeah.
How did you find Iliza?
Yeah, Kevin.
It was sad to say Last Comic Standing. We watched it.
That's sad.
Not sad
That
at
makes
all.
you a long-term
And
fan.
I loved how every week it seemed like you got picked to go against the guy in the elimination, and you just kept beating them, and that was awesome.
I did, and now they're all dead.
Well, Kevin, there's a lot of that. She really touches on that in the book. So please
get the book, Kevin.
Please get the book. Tell everyone you know that you went to class with in college, however long ago, last year, that Iliza has a book. Send them all to girllogicbook.com. Okay.
He's not going to do it.
All right.
Thank you,
You're
Kevin.
gonna do it,
He's
right,
gonna do
Kevin?
it.
I am.
Thank
I'm
you.
getting a copy for my wife for
Woo.
I love that.
All right, for
All right.
Christmas.
All right, not Jewish. That's fine. All right. Kiss the wife.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye, Kevin.
Thanks. Alrighty. Bye.
Okay, bye.
All right, so I guess all denominations of
All
family.
right, great.
Where are
love
the
it.
Jews?
Okay. I feel like Where Are the Jews is like, whoa. you
I
know
can
what
yell
mean?
it though.
Like,
I can yell it. It's different. When you yell it, it's a whole
no,
other.
I did not yell it.
I
certainly
politely inquired.
and I didn't whisper either. That's weird. Okay. How did you come up with the party goblin?
Party Goblin. It's a bit. I think she was. I don't even remember the original bit.
All right, then we'll move on. Who was?
But I will say this Party Goblin is a genuine emotion. It's that feeling when your night goes from 0 to 60, and we've all had those nights where, like, it really was born more out of the antithesis of Party Goblin, which is I remember going out with my friend Anne. It was just she and I in our 20s. And this is LA. It's like the mid 2000s. I remember wearing like cut off tights under a jean skirt, like, and we would go out every night, and not like Paris Hilton go out. Like, we were going to like garbage bars, and like we thought we were awesome and like killing it. And there were those nights where like you want to party and you can't get it going. Do you ever have that? Like, and you're drinking and it's just not turning over. And then so I remember having a lot of those, and then there was nights where you're like, I'll just have one drink, and like the party gods are like, yeah. And then it just gets crazy, and you wake up the next morning like, what the fuck? So Party Goblin was born out of experience. Everyone has a Party Goblin. And the voice just kind of came naturally, and then I did Forever 31. We did an episode about her, and I just chipped away at the sculpture that was already in all of our psyches.
It's so great. It's so funny. I feel like you don't go too much into your voices and all the characters, but that is almost Girl Logic in a way, right? So you have a whole book on it. You have a whole book. Yes. So you could say, in some, not that Party Goblin is Girl Logic, but there's a lot of like that thought process.
Well, there's also, yeah, I mean, in terms of like, especially when you're younger, you don't want to waste a night. I remember thinking like, because you probably hate your job. You're 24 and you work like in an office and you don't even know what your boss does. Because I had a copywriting job and it was garbage. And you don't want to waste a night out because that's your 48 hours to ruin the life you work so hard for. And you don't want to waste it because, you know, you spent like the little money you had, you got dressed up, especially for girls, like the exhaustion that goes into getting ready. And we go out, you're like, I don't want to waste an outfit. Like you did, oh, you scooped them in and you strapped it down and you went out. And then there's that thought, you're like, if I don't go out tonight, I'm missing out on something. And by something, we mean I'm missing out on meeting a guy. I'm missing out on something special that's going to get me to the next step in my life. When the reality is, it's probably not, that's not it. This isn't sliding doors. There's always another door to slide. I feel like I have mascara on my face.
It looks great. Okay. I think you should definitely have this guy do your wedding. And he is.
Going to.
Okay, I think there's another great question in here that I saw earlier.
Retails for $35 in Canada.
From who, I'm going to go ahead and just like redo the grammar on the questions. From who do you draw your greasiest strength from? I think they mean greatest, but they also mean from who. Making it so fun.
Strength.
Who do you draw your greatest strength from? I can answer this for you.
What am I supposed to say? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, you talk a lot about your parents in the book, which I think is really fun because you don't talk about your family that much in your stand-up.
Right.
If you're a casual, even if you're just an avid consumer, you don't know much about her parents.
And they're on the
siblings.
wanted list, so we don't. That was such a dad joke.
But your dad. You talk a lot about your experience with your parents.
Yes, but my biggest inspiration, not to like not yes and you.
Oh, please.
My biggest oh wait, is it this one? My
Hey.
greatest. Oh, okay.
I don't want to answer it for you. But
You know what? To be honest, yes, you're right, and you're great at this. You're like, I'm like, I wrote about that. My father's work ethic was important to watch growing up, and it was sort of instrumental in the way I constructed my work ethic, which I think you either have one or you don't. And so I watched his struggle having to take on a new career at 40-something with 2 kids to support, not me and my brother, his 2 other children, and kind of start over. And that kind of showed me like, oh, it's never too late to pick your pieces up from your life and start over again. And it's in the book, so I'm not going to go into it, but it was a really important moment in my life seeing a grown man, who's your father, so he's like a Superman, right? Say, this isn't working and I'm going to start over. And now he's really, I don't know, he's, say high up at his company. He has his own office. So, do any of your dads have their own office? But I think greatest strength, I think my strength comes from the absence of things that I see. And it's this never-ending desire to stand up for people, even though no good deed goes unpunished. To always right the wrongs, every single little wrong, even if it comes down to like hip checking someone in line at Dwayne Reed. Like, I'm like a justice avenger, but like not with a cape. I'm like lower tier in like the administrative office. It's this constant thing to right wrongs and fix things and stand up for people that don't have a voice and explain things. And I wrote Girl Logic because I was so tired of women always being called crazy. And I was so tired of always hearing women described as X, Y, and Z. And I was like, we are so complex. And there are so many factors that go into everything that we decide. Factors that are out of our control, things that are put on us, and our own mess in our minds. And so this book is me letting you know you're not crazy and you have a right to be here and to have your thoughts and your head is okay.
I think what you're touching on with that kind of last thought is about your take on feminism and the way that I read, and you do a great job because you spend a lot of time talking about your approach to feminism, your approach to being a woman, how you came to become the woman that you are now, and how that is actually different in your mind's eye than the kid that you were, in a way. So, not without giving anything away, you were the funny kid versus like the gorgeous swan that you are now.
Swan.
And so it was difficult for you, and I think a lot of people who get into comedy are not prom queen, because if you were, you wouldn't develop a sense of humor, but
you really wouldn't.
You faced a lot of people kind of coming at you, pigeonholing you as, oh, you're this gorgeous blonde from Dallas, which you are, but you don't see yourself that way.
I do at times.
Right. As you come into yourself.
But yeah, I mean, that was like something, there's always going to be, and I talk about this in the book, the way you see yourself, the way the world sees you, and sort of the way it is. You know, like you might see yourself as super generous and giving, and the rest of the world's like, wow, you're kind of an asshole. And the truth is probably somewhere in between, right? And so it's a struggle, especially for women, because it's so thoughtless to say, oh, just live your life, who cares? because oftentimes what other people think about us influences not only our self-esteem, but our safety, our health. Oh, she seems slutty, therefore I can do this. Oh, she seems like she'd be willing to do that. Oh, she seems X, Y, and Z. Or I don't owe her respect, or she doesn't seem smart. She seems bitchy, let's not talk to her. So you have to just live your life on your own terms, but to not be cognizant of what you're putting out there, because it can have negative ramifications and positive ones, or positive, I guess, effects. I just think that that's something you have to factor in as a woman. And this goes beyond anything sexual. This could be at work, you know. If you stand up for yourself, you feel good about that. Your mom told you to stand up. But the guy in charge of you might be weaker than you and didn't like that you did that. So there's always a balance to be played. And once in a while, you can hit someone over the head and get what you want. But I do think women have it a little bit harder in that respect. A baby lamb!
One follow-up question to that. So what do you think, you go into a room and you pitch a TV show. What do you think they see and what do you see?
Yeah. I go into a pitch TV show and I'm coming in there as this gritty, semi-street savvy road comic who gets men and speaks to women and suffers no fools. And I think what they see is a blonde girl who has a good body, who, you know, probably loves pizza and drinking vodka in the middle of the day. Or on like kind of an upside down maybe, or like a slight axis tilt, they see like a hard ass. And I'm not that either. It's a combination of all three of them. And I think it's very difficult for us, and you see this in television, to envision a multifaceted woman. And I talk about this in the book. When it's a woman, a female character, it's always, she's a mom and and works in an office and carries coffee, but sometimes she spills it. How's she gonna date and take the dog out? It's never like, he's a doctor and plays squash. How does he do it all?
How is it gonna work?
What's gonna happen?
But so you think I think you're more of an underdog.
I am definitely an underdog, and I didn't want to be because I think I'm a winner.
Yeah.
But I do think I think it takes people a minute.
But I think when you're an underdog, when you self-classify or self-identify as an underdog, you're kind of like also on some level think you have the ability to...
That's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
It connotes that you'll be up there at some point.
Exactly.
If you're an underdog your whole life, then you're a loser. Because you were described as an underdog prior, and then you became the favorite.
Right.
If you're always the underdog forever, then you just never won. Then you're just a dog.
If you're an underdog, comment at girllogicbook.com. Buy the book and let us know how you're feeling about this session.
How's it going?
How's it going?
'Cause I have a headache.
You have a headache?
Doing this ketogenic diet, and it is rough.
Brutal. Okay, we're going to do 22 questions in 2 minutes. You're going to be so thin.
I don't care.
You're doing a great job. You're
Everybody's
doing
like, it's going to be gross. You're going to have gross breath. I'm like, doesn't matter, because all you have to do is look at me. So thin. Look at that. Look at that.
Look at what? It's your vein, you monster. I've seen this a million times. You're never going to be in a situation where you're like, check me out now. Take a photo now.
Fine. Go to Kate's Instagram and look at her hip bones. Tell me you don't want that. So.
It was a stressful time. Okay. 22 questions in 2
times. It was
the stress of times. It was the wine of times.
hip.
Okay. Guys, 22 questions in 2 minutes. If you haven't already, go to girllogicbook.com. Donate to my personal wine fund. No. Buy the book. Tell a friend to buy the book. This is so exciting. This is really so huge. Look at this. The back of this is great.
You know what I'm going to do?
I'm so thrilled
Thank you. Because the holidays are coming up. We're going to do 2 for 1. What's that? We can't do that? Okay. We just buy it. Buy 2. And keep 1.
Buy 2.
Turns out I have no control over the fiscal aspect of this book.
And I'm not moderating very well, so...
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Okay.
I was just like, 2 for 1. They were like, we're already in the red. This was very expensive paint.
You got the money up front, right? Okay.
Did I? My manager's not here. I don't know.
Who inspires you the most?
I already answered that sort of, huh?
Me. Okay. Number 2.
Kate the Wasp.
Who would you like to trade places with if you could? Blanche was the answer.
I want to lick my belly, and I want to sleep for 22 hours and like still like wake up like just like, who, me? And it's just like, oh. If I could put with one person for a day, or is it just in general?
How do you 22 questions in 2 minutes? We're supposed to be quick and kind of like
Can we read it again?
We could read it again.
Oh, do that again.
You feel good? Yeah, it feels good for me too. I know. Who would you like to trade places with if you could? You can do 3 people, 1 sentence each.
Oh, forever?
For a day. You can...
I like being me. I don't know what I'm gonna get. Like you say, Beyonce. Like she might have like Lyme disease and you don't know it. Like I don't know. I don't know what kind of.
Don't speak that way about Beyonce.
All right. Well, I mean Beyonce, I guess. But like, you gotta learn all that choreography.
Not in a day. Take a day where she has a relaxing day.
She
She's doing
does
a photo shoot.
Yeah, that's not relaxing. That's hair, makeup, lighting, posing. I would switch with who would it be? Maybe some sort of seal pup, but like in a safe part of the Arctic Circle.
Okay.
Because then I would have my ears pinned back and I would just be like this face and I could deep dive and I could eat all the seafood I wanted for free. And I would have other seal pup families and I could be in the snow but I wouldn't be cold.
Okay. Who makes you laugh the most?
That concludes my Harvard admissions essay. Who makes me laugh the most?
Who makes you laugh the most?
You can't ask a comic that. You know what? There's another comic out there. I think Sebastian Maniscalco is
Very
brilliant.
funny.
And you should look him up.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
Margot Robbie.
Ooh, good. I see that.
No! I don't see that!
I do.
Who's thinner, though? Maybe someone.
What is your guilty pleasure?
What if I say... Okay, I guess
We gotta keep this moving, babe.
I don't think it's Margot Robbie. I don't think it's her. Maybe Reese Witherspoon. That'd be cool, because her hair's better than mine.
I'm not sure.
It's not her.
Maybe
Who?
one of the Gyllenhaal ladies. Or there's only one.
Jake?
No.
Labial fold.
Maggie?
I look nothing like her.
I know, it doesn't matter. They have lots of hair and
She is
makeup.
nice, though. She was very nice to me at an event once. So just know that.
Well, that's how we became friends. You were nice to me, and now, fast forward. It could
You were
happen with
nice to me. That's what started. You walked up and talked to me.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. That's important. We can get through this. Hi. If you are a person that knows
This is important.
Yeah, it is. No, it is. It is. Not like everything else. Everything else has been just a wild joke, but this is important.
It's all been leading up to this. Take it away.
I approached Iliza at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles and was a fan. My parents thought she was great, and I just started doing comedy, and she was clean, she's smart, she didn't really apologize for anything. It was
I heard you snicker out there when she said she's clean.
I know, I was like, what is going on here? Your agent. No, I'm just kidding. And she became, became a friend. Like, I was a fan, and
The point
was
is...
like, I'm coming to New York. I'm going to tell the story.
All right, fine.
All right? I found my voice now. And she's like, I'm coming to New York. Do you want to open for me? And I was like, I have a backless dress. Let's do this. Yeah. And I came and I opened for her. I was terrible. Like, worse than tonight. And honestly, like, you've been awesome. We've become friends. But one of the things that kills me the most about you, about a misconception about you, is that people think that you're a hard ass, that you're hard to get to know, that you don't look out for other people. That's not the case at all. People need to take initiative in life, whether they're women, men, whatever it is. You need to go. You can't look at someone who's more successful than you, or that you admire, or that you think has something you don't, and say, I can't talk to them, or they're not going to have time for me.
Sometimes you can't.
Sure, that's
Sometimes
fine.
people are so famous.
That's fine.
But I'm not one of those people.
But there has to be onus on the person who is interested in, and it wasn't like I was interested in you. I just had something positive to say, and it was a nice moment, and it could have ended there.
And you were not weird. You were kind. You were cool. You're around my age. You're a comic too. I think also when it's within the same craft, like I'm always going to give the comic speaking to me. I always give my fans respect, but I'm going to give another comic the respect of not treating you like garbage simply because I've done more gigs, and then you turn out to be super cool and we became friends. But, it's always like, oh, I'm intimidated. Oh, I'm scared. Therefore, that person must be an asshole. And it's like, you cannot name one comic who's ever come up to me genuinely and said hi that I've been an asshole to. It's just not a thing. And comics already are so mentally damaged. Keep this in mind, and this is in the book. If you are a comic and you're watching this, it doesn't behoove you to have an attitude when you talk to another comic. And I've had my fair share of attitudes with all kinds of people. Going to doctor's offices, auditions, traffic cops, whatever. But being mean to your headliner or a comic that you like or that you respect, trying to be cool about it, it just makes us think like, ugh, what's that person's problem? And then we never want to talk to you again. There are too many comics out there that you could work with to waste your time on a bad apple. So you don't have to buy me a gift basket, but buy me a gift basket. But just be cool.
I think you have a lot of fans watching. Probably most of them are not comics, and so
That's fair.
But as much as what you're saying is, part of the reason you do so well is because you are not playing to comics. You're playing to a broad audience in the U.S. and Canada, and as a result of that, I think people should think to themselves, okay, you're 24, you want to talk to someone that you think could be interesting in your career, but you're scared to do it. Just talk to them.
Just do it.
You don't have to spend an hour with them. You just say, I enjoyed what you just said at this convention. May I have your card?
Or if it's someone in an office, I mean, I had office jobs, and when I applied to school, asking someone how you can better yourself.
Sure.
Or can I pick your brain?
Yep.
I have been taken to so many coffees that I didn't care about by a kid who went to my high school or my college. Can I just pick your brain? The subtext of can I pick your brain is, can you tell me the secret? Yeah, can you help me? But, if you got up the guts to ask me and I am in a position to help, most people will do that.
And you always have.
Because we love to hear ourselves talk. Yeah.
You always have.
There's no reason, especially for another woman. Like, I'm secure enough. If you don't want to help someone, you honestly have to ask yourself why. Like, what is it in here? Do you think you're not worthy enough or that they can replace you? You know what started it all is All About Eve. Did you ever see that movie?
I vaguely recall.
All About Eve. She's like a famous actress, and then this like, not an understudy, but I forgot who's in it. Is it Lauren Bacall? I don't know. This like younger girl. Eve comes in. Was it Eve? The sort of, anyways, the younger girl comes in and slowly like usurps the older actress's position. Oof. And that like has been, it's an old movie. It's been in our heads like, oh, a younger, better one's gonna come along. I better cut her off at the knees. It's like, or don't be a bitch.
All right, we're winding down here on time.
No, I'm doing so well. Calls are pouring in.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Kevin's having dreams. Guilty pleasure? I pick my nose. I pick my nose a lot.
All right.
Okay. Guilty pleasure. I'm
gonna move along.
Watch garbage TV, and I will spend hours. I just love TV. I'll watch a basketball game. I don't care. I'll watch NBA commentary with Charles Barkley after. I don't care. I just love TV. I like to wrap myself in a blanket like a toga, and I sit on my love sack because I don't like having a couch. And I hold my phone in one hand, and I watch like 90 Day Fiancé, and maybe I eat sushi
And Netflix.
Yeah.
Nod to your.
I watch my own special. If that was my guilt, I watch my own special. I project it in the mirror so I can watch myself in the mirror, and I mimic it, and I try to.
I'm like, who are we sponsored by? Let's call out to them. Okay. What one thing do you need to have in your fridge at all times?
I want to give the celebrity answer, like champagne and caviar, but like
Perfect.
I do
What
have
is your
that, and like you
favorite
never.
cocktail?
No, I have to give the real answer.
Like 2 minutes.
They're here for authenticity. You have to have in my refrigerator. I couldn't answer that because I don't do the grocery shopping because Smokey Husky is the chef. But I have under eye patches that I keep in the fridge for a refreshing burst.
Do you remember one time?
And lemons.
If I may, you had gotten like hair extensions, and I was like, I texted you and I was like, I love your hair extensions. Like they're so sexy. And she goes, yeah, they're super sexy when I take them out at night and have to put them in the freezer. Is that where you keep them? Like,
No!
Apparently you kept one set in the freezer.
No, that was a joke!
No.
Why would I keep my hair in the freezer?
No, you're dead serious. Because there was something that, like, they had... I think there was a certain type of hair, because I never saw since then, but, like... Anyway.
I don't know.
Okay.
Limes. Also limes. For drinks.
What is your favorite cocktail?
Vodka soda. Want to know why? Gets the job done.
What is your dream car?
I don't care.
Who is the last person you called?
I drive a Honda Civic Hybrid that I won on Last Comic Standing because as a woman, nobody gives a shit what I drive. I never have to fill it up for gas. I could buy a Maserati, but I don't care because guess what? Nobody cares how big my dick is. I probably couldn't. I could probably buy one.
Girllogicbook.com.
I wouldn't have a house. Okay, all right.
Buy the book.
Buy my book. Get me that Maserati. If you want to see me go places, you want to see me bang hot chicks.
Who is the last person you called / texted?
Maybe you?
Yeah.
Like, where are you?
You were like, where's my Maserati? And I was like, oh, I thought I was getting one for this show.
Last person I called, that's a tough one.
What makes you happy?
Baby lamb. A baby lamb named Blanche. Maybe let's bring her back in. Maybe someone.
What item would you love to get your hands on?
Wait, so many things make me happy.
Honey,
okay, fine.
Blog about it later. What item would you love? I feel like I'm like your mom, and I'm like,
I love
it's been fun, but wrap it up.
No,
we
this
don't
is
have
good.
A lot of time.
You're playing the funny straight man. And I'm like,
what item would you love to get your hands on if it went up for auction?
Blanche. Are we seeing a pattern here? An item? Ooh.
Hello. What is your biggest pet?
Ooh, was it the Shroud of Tunis? Isn't that what Christ wore when he was buried? That would be valuable. Probably put some rumors to rest, huh? Yeah, I'd like to get my hands on that. right?
What is your biggest?
Wouldn't want a shroud.
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Oh, just one?
Looks like it 2 minutes, and it has gone probably pretty quickly.
Oh my god, biggest. I hate to end on a negative note. Oh my god, I have so many pet peeves.
No, we've
Oh my god.
18 more questions.
You know what I hate? I hate when you are starting to ask a question and somebody preempts it with an answer that they think is funny. You'll be like, how many times have you 47? And you're like, okay, I wasn't even. Or like, hey, did you wanna? I told her no. Like, what are you talking about? Like, just thinking it's so funny what they have in the can, in the whatever comes out before the shot. Poor grammar. When people say I would have ate, I'm like, please don't vote. Please don't do that. That people, oh my god, so many things. Obviously bad breath. Should we just talk about like traffic? Pretty much, the question should have been, what doesn't bother you?
Do you know what mine is? Just to like,
Is it me?
cut you off. What is your puns?
Oh.
I can't stand puns.
No one likes them. No one's like, oh my god.
I can't stand them. I'm sorry
No,
to cut you off, but I needed to. Okay, how do you take your coffee?
Like a man.
Okay, what is
Black lately. A little bit of cream.
what is the last album you bought?
I don't buy albums. I have Spotify.
Guys,
Buy an album.
where's the CEO? How old is this? I mean,
What's the last CD you bought at Tower Records?
what was the last?
20.
All right, to follow up on that, what was the last movie you saw in theaters?
In theaters, I saw It, but on the
Ooh.
plane, I watched Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, which is brilliant, on the way here 2 weeks ago. And then I also watched this documentary called Kedi Kedi. It's about a town in Turkey. I think it's about Istanbul, where they have like hundreds of thousands of cats and how people feel like a spiritual responsibility to feed the cats.
Oh.
Oh, and I watched a little bit of Burt Wonderstone on the way here, which is horrible, but the funny scenes are worth it.
Okay, we've got 3 more minutes. So if you haven't already, go to girllogicbook.com, buy the book, tell a friend to buy the book, tell that friend to tell a friend to buy the book, and it continues on. We're here with Iliza. What?
Continues on.
It does.
Love it.
Do you not want to sell these things?
I do. I'm loving your approach. It's so professional.
Yeah, I take this really seriously.
Someone's got to. Look at me
kidding.
versus look at the way she's sitting. Like, look what I've become versus how she's remained composed.
I'm sweating. What color is your toothbrush? I saw it in your room. It's pink.
That's that's the travel one, and it's blue. I'm at home. I have a Sonicare that I have had since I was 18, and it is a dingy white.
What is the last book you read? Dear God, let it be girllogicbook.com, where you guys need to go.
There you go.
Tell a friend to buy the book. Tell a friend to tell a friend to buy the book.
When I proofread it, I just read a book called The Hitmakers. And by read, I'm like halfway through. But it's a book about why things become popular.
Oh, okay.
Pretty interesting.
I was going to say, what is your middle name? But I know it.
It's a bit for my stand-up. That's why they asked it.
Okay.
They're messing with us.
Okay.
It's V.
We are going, spelled V-I-E. We are going to take a couple more calls, right?
Oh, we are? Okay, fine. Oh, we're
Oh my
not.
gosh. We're not.
Just the customer questions.
Customer questions.
He's like,
in
stick
here?
to the script. Okay.
Stick to your
Hendrix.
Okay. In a fight, you get to choose between a katana
Uh-huh. I know what that is. Yes.
and I don't.
I'm very familiar.
And a very sharp calligraphy pen. I know what that is. Which is your weapon?
Is
Great
that-
question from Antara from Bozeman, Montana. Guys, keep the questions coming. Bozeman. I'm sorry.
And Tara, I get that this is a pen is mightier than the sword type of
Ooh,
question.
Smart.
But if it's an actual physical fight, that's actually an insane choice. Like, insane. You're holding a katana sword, and I'm like, nah. Unless it's short range fighting. So, because here's the thing, if you swipe with a sword and you miss me, I can come in once you've gone over, and I. So, I guess the pen.
Perfect. Do you test jokes out on friends and family before bringing it to the road? Asks Jamie from Edmonton, Alberta.
Love Edmonton. Shout out to Alberta. Alberta beef. Big fan of Calgary. Sorry, Edmonton. But I do love Edmonton. And I enjoy playing the River Cree Casino, which is also there. And I'm excited to go back. No. Never. If you're hearing something coming out of my mouth, it is genuine. It's authentic. It's something I just thought of. It actually breaks my heart when people are like, you running a bit? Is that something you say on stage? No. There's enough funny to go around that, like, I just thought of it in the moment. Because that's part of what I do. But people think it's all rehearsed, which is insane.
One of the great things about the book is the pictures including a set list that you have, which is hilarious.
Should I show it?
To look at. I mean, quickly, but don't like let them
That's
screen grab it so they don't have to buy the book. You
One
know
of
what I mean?
many serial killer type pieces of paper that I have floating in the ether in my bag. All
pretty
comics
cool.
have lists like this. Just cocktail napkins, gum wrappers, bits of paper, set lists we grab, write something on the back, W-9 forms, just whatever you can find. Someone else's pay stub.
Okay, we have a late-breaking question from Chloe in Tacoma, Washington. If you had to rename Blanche, what would you name her?
Baby Ham.
Okay.
Baby Loop. Small Mouth Susan. Big Ham Betty.
Dennis in Kansas City, Missouri says, I got nothing, just happy to listen.
Great.
Dennis, thank you for the moral support.
As always, thanks, Dennis.
Ooh, Shannon from Brooklet, Georgia asks, what was the hardest thing to edit out of this book?
There were some personal stories in there, and my editor was like, some of these read like sour grapes. And so some stories, you know, you want to tell the story, but it either makes the book too long or it does sound like you just sound butthurt. So it might verbally come off as this great story, but the last thing you want to sound is like, oh, what was me? I took the story about my shitty time on The View out of here because it is totally unrelatable getting shanghaied by Whoopi Goldberg on national television. So we took it out of the book. But that was a brutal experience.
I don't think that had anything to do with it. I love Whoopi and all the gals at The View. I don't think that had anything to
Really?
do with
Name
you.
them. Name who's on right now.
Okay. Whoopi and The View.
There you go. We have to change them out because America doesn't trust any women. So keep
Joy.
changing the cast.
Sarah.
Who is Sarah?
Sarah's the petite blonde.
There's
With more of
always a petite
centrist-
blonde.
yeah,
I was the petite blonde
with more of a
for a
centrist
day.
view.
That's right. Everybody wants to be Elizabeth Hasselbeck, and no one can compare.
Kia, Jebediah, I think, has decided she's no longer going to be on the show. Okay. Kia from Fayetteville, North Carolina says, what is your favorite song of all time? If that's too difficult to pick, who is your favorite singer/band?
That's difficult too. Favorite song of all time might be "Tell It to My Heart" by Taylor Dane. I may or may not have asked her to sing it at my wedding.
Ooh. Celeb guest.
I love that song. Yeah. She was on my podcast.
Can you seat her with me at my table?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We'll put that in writing.
And make this about me like you made it about you when you got up to dance with your fiance at my wedding.
You specifically said no dancing. It was a Mormon wedding. I'm sorry.
Okay. Warren in Bradford, Pennsylvania says, how do you maintain all of your energy to constantly perform?
Well,
Adderall, next question.
no. The shows, it's just like I just get so excited to be there, and it naturally, like you've got like reserves, and it just naturally comes out. I'm so excited to be there. And by the way, I have had to perform on no sleep. I've performed with the flu, like show must go on. So it comes out of my genuine excitement for being up there, and this will to carry on day after day. But there are some days where I can't make it. So I guess I'm just a person.
Just another woman employing girl logic every day. You guys, this has been so fun. We are about to wrap up now in the next 10 seconds or so.
That was it.
It was an hour. I want
But I
everyone,
always had something.
please go to girllogicbook.com. She's going to be here signing these books. Thank you all so much. Eliza, what else do you
I'll
want?
thank you. Kate the Wasp. Kate Hendricks. Kate the Wasp on Instagram, on all of her social media. She is not only, you've done a great job moderating this, but you are my friend. You are my sister in arms.
I love you.
And I'm sorry I danced at your wedding. Apparently that's a real sensitive issue.
I am so pumped for you. This book is awesome. Please,
Thank you.
all jokes aside, go. This is a wonderful send up of your life to date. Is that a good way to say it?
Yeah.
I think this is really, anybody who knows you and likes you is going to feel very fulfilled by this. Anyone who doesn't know you, I think, would feel very empowered by it. As someone who's in their 30s, I think there's a lot here that kind of, you can say, okay, that doesn't entirely relate to me, but it hits me, and I can apply this to my current life. And if you're in your 20s, this is right up your alley.
This book is for you. And at the very least,
It's wonderful.
it says Weinstein. So remember the thing I said about Nazis earlier? Oh, no, is that bad? I was
We
saying
wanna
nothing
keep it-
else
we wanna-
has it.
we wanted the light.
The
We
book's
wanna
already
keep-
out.
We want to be great. We want to be up.
Take
on
home
the
your piece of
upswing,
Nazi
on the
paper.
upswing. This is so. Oh my goodness! Please.
This
I
book
I am
is-
sweating through my cardigan.
Here, I'll just say it. I'll say it. I put a lot of heart and soul and time into this book. I do humbly offer this to my fans. It's a piece of me. It's advice. It's my thoughts. It's my life. It's not an autobiography because I wouldn't be as pompous as to write one at 34 about only a couple of accomplishments. So this is just the way I see it. If you like me, I think you'll like this book. And if, at the very least, there are pictures.
At the very most, tell a friend. That's a great thing to do, is buy it for a friend, right? And
Yes.
move these things off the shelves.
Because I'm going to jack up that price come Christmas. Ah! I got that one wet.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Tell them goodbye. Give me a hug.
Goodbye. Give me a hug.
All right. Congratulations, Eliza.